Mr. Hotz, thank you so much for waiting. I do appreciate it. I wonder what you can tell us about the break-in. First of all, whether anyone was hurt, and then what exactly happened, what was taken.
Good evening, Sally. Thank you very much. Firstly, my client has asked me to express his, first of all, advise everybody that he's fine. Obviously, it's a very, very unpleasant incident that happened, but he wants everybody to know that he's fine, and he also wishes to extend his gratitude to the numerous people who've sent messages to him expressing their concerns and wishing him well. He also wants to thank private security companies that have jumped into action immediately to offer him protection, beef up security, and all of those lovely things which unfortunately are necessary in times like this. My client is not naive, but he wants to err on the side of caution. Without having definitive evidence that this was anything but an ordinary crime, there are unfortunately 4 distinct indications for him that this was not an ordinary crime. Obviously, it's not appropriate to discuss those issues because those evidence items or pieces of evidence have been handed over to the police, which will hopefully assist them in their investigations. My client is concerned, whilst he's all right, and he doesn't mean to be glib with this. One of the things that he's very upset about that was taken were his bakkie and his bicycle. But leaving that aside on a serious note, there were items taken. His computer bag was taken with its laptop in, iPad in, various flash disks, copies of documentation, which is all relevant. But as he said in his media briefing, the people who he's implicated in the various matters where he is a whistleblower already know what evidence and what allegations are brought against them, and that this was mere copies of the evidence. The evidence is in safe custody, and that evidence hopefully one day will be used in a court of law to ensure that justice prevails.
So why is he suspicious? I mean, in a way, you know, first of all, the horse is bolted. We've got the state capture report out already. And as the point that he's made is that all that evidence that he have is very safely locked away, not on his laptop at home. So what makes him suspicious that he might have been targeted as a whistleblower?
Look, unfortunately, although it's not confined to the state capture, I think the problem is that in South Africa, and for far too long now, whistleblowers, whether it's in the public sector, whether it's in the private sector, whistleblowers have had to endure the most tormentuous conduct. And so I think there's a greater issue here. Let's accept that it wouldn't be appropriate to discuss the precise items of evidence which were to be found on the scene, which would give him cause to suspect that this was more than just a mere act of random kindness. But for him, the most important issue is that he wishes to focus on the importance of dealing with whistleblowing in our country at this moment in time, the importance of creating a proper framework in a constitutional democracy where whistleblowers will feel free and comfortable to come forward, give their evidence, and importantly thereafter, to know that they're going to be properly protected.
It is very much about being protected thereafter. Just to jump in and to give some context, of course, let's not forget that Themba Maseko, who also is a whistleblower, and he blew the whistle on what was happening at government communications. His house, I think, there was an attempted break-in just a couple of days ago as well. What specifically is Mr. van Loggerenberg asking for? There's so much talk about we need to do more, but in this particular case, is he asking for example, for police security to follow him everywhere? What needs to be done at this point where we are?
I think, first of all, the thing that bothers, I think, all of us is that there are certain people who believe that they are beyond accountability, and therefore these type of acts they perpetrate with impunity. That has to stop. There has to be respect for law and order. That's number one. Number two, my client is part of the group of whistleblowers who've organized themselves arising out of the Zondo state capture issue. And him and the other whistleblowers are really adamant that the time has come in this country to make a change, to have government finally take ownership of this, create a mechanism where, as we say, it will now become common practice where people will feel safe to come forward, to blow the whistle, to know that they and their families will be protected, not only at the time of blowing the whistle, but importantly thereafter. So it's quite a convoluted, complex subject, but the time has now arisen where
you're right. You're right. The time has indeed arisen. It is crucially important, not just at that time, but as you explain, continuing their physical security, financial support, so many other emotional support as well. Thank you so much for letting us know that Johann van Loggerenberg is not harmed and his family is safe. Bernard Hotz from Werksman's attorneys, he represents Johann van Loggerenberg. Stay with